Feels like I'm stuck in the slums, hustling for nothing but his boo. I'm gutter, what's up, fucker? Just us and buzzing. Love my brothers, ever hustle, married to the ab, addicted to handling razor, twisting, tearing these sandwich bags. Turf goons won't hesitate to get at you.
The boys are coming.
Welcome back to another episode of Warren Cali. In this episode, I'm going to detail the story of Oak Park rapper, Little Nick. Now, Little Nick would be born Nicholas Newsom and would be born around 1988. He would grow up in a section in Sacramento called Oak Park. Oak Park would be one of the most violent areas in all of Sacramento, with a lot of violence going on, from drug dealing, robberies, and murder. And being around this type of area, Little Nick would become a product of his environment. Oak Park is a blood hood that's one of the biggest and deadliest gangs in Sacramento, and also one of the most hated gangs. Oak Park are rivals to gangs all over South Sacramento, like the Garden Block Crips, the Mazy Bloods, and eventual gangs who will form, like Gas and Stars, among many others. And even in North Sac, they got rivals like the Heights. The Blood and Crip thing isn't a big thing in Sacramento, because most of the gangs in the city are Bloods, so most of Oak Park rivals will be Blood gangs. Growing up in Sacramento during the 90s and the 2000s, Little Nick got in the streets fully and would claim 4th Avenue, one of Oak Park's most known streets. Little Nick would be around when many cliques would start to form in the early 2000s in Sac. He would be a part of everything going on in his community, and a clique would be formed called Fab. Fab would be a popular clique at the time in Oak Park, which later spawned several other cliques later on. Little Nick was making his name in the streets, and at the same time, he was building a name from rapping. Sacramento 90s rap scene had many rappers coming out that era, putting on for Sac. But Sac had many new hungry rappers in the 2000s trying to build a name, and that would be Little Nick. And around the same time, it would be another rapper in Oak Park making some noise. Many people believe that Little Nick and Mazy, who went by the name Little Tim back then, were the next rappers out of Sac and in Oak Park. Some people even believe that Little Nick was better, or some believe Mazy was, and some had them being neck and neck.
If you ain't talking about no dollar la-las, ain't you saying this blah 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 blah. I rush a hoe to the track like hurry me, huh? Underlay, bitch, yeah. I've been flying since I was knee high. Do expect money orders, checks in, Visa. Oh man, not from me, Oakland or the G, so I don't dance. Married to the Ave without the smooching and romance. Full court press, gets no chance. Give it to anybody when defending my block. A lot of close range shooting. Cherry picking my shots.
Whole finger waving hoods, post fab symbols. Yeah, Black Rock 4Ks, ACDC, heavy metal gang. Hey, Dish, pop the top off the Jose. The Clan, place every scary man in a grave. Yeah, 612 until hell reaches. Doc Holiday, gun smoking, empty shell cases. We getting real paper. You can ask the Montre. Daytime Malibu, nighttime late thing. Push D-boy patterns, even when it's slow. And if the boys lock the block, then we network off the phone shit. FC, hammered up, bouncing out the low. Pills, perps, remixes, Sprite with Robo.
Little Nick would be dropping a lot of music and going by several names, like Nikolai Soltez and Doc Holiday. Little Nick was trying to get noticed, and he was building a local buzz in the city. But being a rapper in that time period wasn't easy, especially if he wasn't making mainstream music. It was hard for a street artist to blow up, especially with Little Nick being in the streets. This would later lead to Little Nick's life changing forever. On October 23rd, 2009, Little Nick and several Oak Park Bloods, including his homie Hot Boy Shine, were at a bar called Center Court, owned by ex-Sacramento Kings player Chris Webber. While at the bar, the Oak Park Bloods were running into a rival from 29th Street, Garden Block Crips. His name was Tiny Wee. Tiny Wee was a well-respected member from that section. The Oak Park Bloods banged on Tiny Wee, and he banged back. Tiny Wee was at the bar with his girlfriend, and from many accounts, the next thing heard was Oak Park and shots being fired. This left Tiny Wee shot 6 times and him losing his life.
About 1:52 this morning on Saturday, as the nightclub was closing at the 3600 block of North Freeway, there was large amounts of people leaving. South of the nightclub, a male victim, 22 years old, was walking to his vehicle with some associates when he was shot. At this point, we don't have clear suspect descriptions or any suspect vehicles. We do have numerous people that were here that we are about to talk to. Our homicide unit is out here and have just finished briefing. We are looking for other witnesses that we know were here during the time of the incident. There was a large crowd, well over several hundred.
Hot Boy Sean would later tell his baby mama about the incident, which she would later tell the police about the situation. Tiny Wee's girlfriend would later tell police that Little Nick was the shooter. There's always been many people speculating on who was the shooter, and many of Nick's rivals would say he was not the shooter. Little Nick and Hot Boy Sean would be charged with the murder and both be sentenced to 40 years to life. Even behind bars, Little Nick would be dropping music, and since being locked up, he got way more disrespectful than ever, making diss songs to his enemies from several different gangs. He even started calling himself 100 Shots. Little Nick would even make a song called Rest in Piss Tiny Wee for the person he was suspected to kill. Little Nick would even trade shots on record with several rappers from enemy gangs, like CML and Lick. On several songs, Little Nick would say he pressed CML in person, and even from his own words, he would say he punched him. CML would respond to Little Nick on several songs, but on his diss song to all his enemies, the song is called Where's Waldo 2. The song will be a hard diss to all his enemies, and Little Nick will get a lot of jabs thrown at him. In the song, CML would say Little Nick never killed nobody and just be talking behind bars. Now Lick was a well-known South Sac rapper affiliated with several different gangs in South Sac. He was a known and respected gang member. Lick would get locked up around 2016 and is currently behind bars. Even though him and Little Nick will be in jail, they would make a ton of music and some dissing each other. In 2019, Little Nick would drop a song called Snitch Gang, exposing Snitch rivals and even snitches from his own hood. In the song, Little Nick would diss Lick several times and say that he violated women, and he even would diss all the hoods that Lick was affiliated with. Lick would respond days later using the same beat as Little Nick's song Snitch Gang and name the song Bitch Gang. In the song, Lick would go hard dissing Oak Park and calling Little Nick a meth head and say he never killed anybody, and Lick would respond to Little Nick allegations by saying they was false. Little Nick is still dropping music behind bars and still going hard at his enemies in songs. He just recently dropped a song called Young Jock, referring to the incident of Stockton EBK rapper EBK Young Jock getting his chain snatched in LA. Little Nick is now 35 and facing an appeal in 2028. To many people, Little Nick is a what if story. Like what if he got to make it as big as Mazy in the industry? But it never happened. With him being too deep in the streets, it cost him his career.
What's up, blood? I click. I keep popping till I hear that thing click. I said, what's up, blood?
What's up, blood?
I click.
I click.
I keep popping till I hear that thing click.
The thing
I said, Team Hut Hut. This be that Spartan music. Fully loaded cartridge while park maneuvering 32 shot Uzi with the safety off. Better dash and break fast before I get your face smashed taken.
This will conclude this episode. If you haven't already, make sure you check out my previous episodes. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.